Yeah, no, you said that it takes two kind of special people to make that work, and I said I agree, and that's kind of from personal experience, not my personal experience, but my one of my friends who's just finishing his medical residency, or he just finished. He has boards here at the end of August.
Oh,
Um,
PTSD.
him and his wife uh, did the long distance thing through medical school, through residency, even after they were married. He got placed in Baltimore. She was in Philadelphia, Indianapolis. Sorry, um, it doesn't matter. Not
Yeah.
close. And they figure out how to make it work. They're only just in the last year finally in the same place at the same time, and it's been 7, 8 years now for them. So they're two very special people. So it definitely can work for certain people. So hopefully that maybe will give you a little bit of hope or buoy your spirits that it definitely can work
Sure.
for the right people. Yeah.
So we'll see. I'll get back to you. I'll send you an invitation to the wedding if that
Okay.
happens.
Don't let me find out through like Greg. I'll be like, "Where's my invite?" I don't. So speaking of Greg, you said you met him. Did he wrangle you into doing triathlon, or like how did that all transpire? Because I think you just ran prior to jumping into multisport, right?
Yeah, I predominantly, so I didn't run in high school. I ran for fun in college. I didn't run my first half until my sophomore year of dental school. And then, got the bug from there. But
Mm.
I moved to Charleston in the summer of 2017 and realized that the triathlon community was very present here.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a local tri shop, or there is a local tri shop, they haven't closed, Sky Endurance. And I mean, I moved down to Charleston knowing absolutely no one or nothing about the area. I was the only resident out of the group that particular year. It's a 2-year program, so you have first and second years, but the
Right.
only one who wasn't married with a family. So I really came down and was like, all right, I'm gonna have to kind of find my own way. So I found my way into Blue Sky, and I realized I'm like, all right, I can kind of swim. I swam on the YMCA team when I was 8. I can
Mhm.
I can hold my own in the pool.
Yep.
I can kind of ride a bike, which I'm still learning how to ride a bike now,
Yeah.
and I can run. So let's see what this triathlon thing is about. So I got like an entry level 8-speed road bike from the shop,
Hmm.
cleats, some spandex, had the Garmin watch, got all the things.
Well, you
And
don't even need the Garmin watch. You just got the spandex, you got the bike. You could do it without. I've seen people do it on like a mountain bike with like a mountain bike helmet and just like
yeah,
regular shoes on. Like you can get started for a lot less than people think you can.
exactly. And there's a local sprint series here in Charleston, and you see beach cruisers, you see mountain bikes, you see all
Hmm.
sorts of things. So I mean, it's just such an accessible sport, depending on how much you want to get into it. But anyway, so I reached out to Greg. I knew him through my major. I was a health and exercise science major undergrad when he was a grad student there,
Okay.
and I knew vaguely that he, was into triathlon, Ironman, that sort of thing. So I Facebook messaged him. I was like, "So, remember me, Forrest? I want to get involved in triathlon. I know nothing, but I have things that I've purchased,
Mhm.
and do you coach? Just give me some pointers." And so he was really sweet and reached back out and said, "Yeah, I kind of I do coach." Um, and at that particular time, I was getting ready to run the Charleston Half Marathon. And he said, "Let's give it a test run. I'll train you up for the half marathon. If you like it, we can talk about, continuing forward." So not only did I have to brag on Greg, love you, Greg, if you're watching. So not only did he coach me up for the half, I PR'd by like I don't know, 12 or 13 minutes.
That's a big chunk.
Yeah, finished in an hour and 34 and some change.
Mm-hmm.
The best half that I've ever had, clearly. And I was like, all right, let's continue this.
Yeah.
So, since then, it's just been such an evolution of not only like my ability as a triathlete, but also my friendship with Greg, and then my growth, as an athlete, in terms of my knowledge of the sport, the people that I've met, the experiences that I've had, the equipment that I've upgraded to. Um,
Yeah, that's I'll say an all-consuming activity if you let it be. If you have the money to let it be, you can spend as much as you want.
right. Um, but yeah, so Greg and his wife Bree are in Savannah,
Mhm.
which is about 2 hours from Charleston. So I popped down to visit them earlier in the year in January when I was actually interviewing for some jobs in this area. And then recently upgraded my road bike. So I purchased Greg's old road bike and sold mine, the one that I met my significant other with, to one of
But
his.
it'll always live in your heart, though. So
Exactly. To one of his students. Sorry, my foot is going to sleep. Um, and they're always so gracious and so kind, and I think that's important. With a coach athlete relationship, is that they're not just this person that writes your workout plans and
Mhm.
tells you go faster or sleep more, which he does a lot. Um, they're your friend, and they're someone that you can say, like, these other non-athletic emotional things are going on in my life, like I need to share that with you. And Greg has been absolutely wonderful in all aspects of coaching. So
Yeah, that was always, I mean, really important to me. And before I brought on the coach that I work with now, it's I was definitely like, the coach is my confidant. Like anything and everything that's going on affects, your place mentally. So I'm like, I have to have. I kind of told him when we were like figuring out whether we wanted to work together. We need. I need the ability to say anything and everything that's going on, even if we don't necessarily agree in viewpoints, but like what's going on with me. Like I wrote in my log earlier, actually, this week, I not to be a bummer, but I learned that one of my college coaches passed away earlier this week.
sorry.
And so he was the throws coach on my track team. So he wasn't my direct coach, but like definitely knew him and he had, somewhat of an impact on me among lots and lots of people. He lived a very large life. So that's like been weighing on me this week. And I kind of talked to him about that and he was like, it's like, it's okay. But anyway, um, like I said, not to try to
No, let it out,
bum
man.
us out here,
It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah,
Vent.
yeah, yeah. But it's like, yeah, having that person that you can share that with and be like, man, I'm just having a tough week and just really distracted, or, I ate cereal for dinner. So maybe I didn't
Yes.
have the best workout the next day. It's super important.
Yeah. Yeah, and my schedule is nuts. Like from call to clinic days to OR, um, you know, traveling sometimes for conferences and stuff like that. I try to give him a heads up and say, yo, I'm in the OR this week or I'm on call, can't do long rides outside, this, that, the other thing. And he's more than accommodating in terms of scheduling stuff that fits my schedule. And I think that's, being a triathlete and being a resident has been, it's not easy.
Hmm.
Obviously, patient care comes first, clinic comes first, studies come first. So, in terms of training, it often means I'm up at the ass crack of dawn
Yeah.
getting my stuff
Yeah.
done because God knows how the clinic day is going to go and if I can get in the afternoon. Um, that being said, Greg has been a proponent of getting sleep because it's
Hmm.
so easy. And I think like when I first started training with him, my mentality was like more is better, go hard all the time.
Yeah, that's pretty common
He's sitting there,
mentality.
yeah, he's sitting there probably going, yes, and you're still that way. But, you know, a lot of my evolution as an athlete and as a resident has, revolved around realizing, like I said earlier, the balance between training and residency, and realizing there's some days where you're scheduled for this length of time on the bike and you can only do this length of time, or you get paged
Mhm.
in the middle of your swim, which has happened. um,
How do you get a page in the middle of your swim?
so for example, on days where I've been on call,
Uh-huh.
I keep my pager in a Ziploc bag at the end of the pool.
Okay.
And so every couple of sets I check it.
Hmm.
Fun side note. There was a time on a weekend where I did get paged, and I usually, like, when I'm on call, I keep an on-call bag with me, so it's got scrubs, instruments if I need them, because usually we have to go straight to the emergency room,
Hmm.
do our like preliminary exam, and then figure out what we got to do from there. This particular day, um, I didn't bring a change of clothes in addition to my scrubs, so I had to wear my bathing suit underneath my scrubs. I smelled like chlorine. Rolling into the ED, hair wet, mascara like kind of blotched under my eyes, and like roll up to the suit and be like, I'm your dental professional today. But it's like the Marines, you adapt and overcome. So,
Hmm.
you learn, like I said, to balance the two. But it does mean a lot of early mornings for me, a lot of getting stuff done on weekends. And also, where was I going with this? Going to bed early. So yes, I wake up really, really early, but I also go to bed really, really early. So trying to find a balance between the two. Um,
Yeah. Is that really, because I was curious about your typical day and I didn't really seem to have to ask you, but is that typically what you're trying to get in? Just wake up at 4 a.m. or whatever to get things done so that the day doesn't get in the way?
for the most part, OR days like today and tomorrow are a little bit different in that, I have to be there ready to roll at like 6 a.m. So
Hmm.
oftentimes I'll wait until after the fact. Some days, if I know it's going to be a really long OR day, I'll just get up early and get it done, um,
Hmm.
or shorten. Sometimes I try to stick to like what's scheduled as best I can.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it just depends. And also learning to be kind to your body and realize
Hmm.
like if you need extra time. And this is something like Greg has to constantly remind me. He's like, if you need to ease up on a workout, or if you need to modify a workout, if you're tired, like listen to your body. It's so easy for me, and this is the mentality that's gotten me to where I am today, to
Hmm.
go push, like ignore, you know, pain, not necessarily, well, yeah, pain, but you know what I mean? Like,
Certain kinds of thing.
exactly, like ignore it, like whatever, brush it off, keep rolling, keep the pace. And that's almost detrimental to growth as an athlete. Like, you have to
Hmm.
learn when to rest, which is something like I'm constantly learning. When to rest, when to go hard, when to go easy, and really tune your ears to listen to your body. I've had a lot of
Right.
different injuries over the last year and a half that have humbled me in that way.
Hmm. I think that's the tough part, and it's something I know I'm always learning. I was injured numerous ways in college, but it's like people always say, "Well, listen to your body," but it's like there's some things you need to listen to and some things you need to ignore. Because if you always listen, then it's like I'm running hard, it hurts. Do I listen to that voice that's saying stop? Well, no, you have to like ignore that to some degree and continue forward. But then there's other things. It's like, no, that hurts because you've pulled something. You should listen to that one.
Right.
But it's like, how do at least, and I don't know. I'll speak one language and I mildly speak another language. I don't know if it's a limitation of English or just a limitation of being able to express it. But there's so many different types of pain that like the word pain does not encompass all the different sensations you can experience. I
Hmm.
feel like if we could communicate what those things are more effectively, it would
Yeah.
be easier to be like, Oh, that's what that is. Listen to that.
Yeah. I like to think sometimes like hard workout pain, like, I'm running hard, like this sucks. Like that is suck pain.
Hmm.
This is difficult. I hate my life right now. I kind of hate my coach right now. So, those thoughts, but the body aches and pains that extend beyond just muscle soreness, or like for example, yeah, I want to say, gosh, almost 2 months ago, um, I was running. So I told you I had my bike accident
Hmm.
almost a year ago. Huge amount of recovery time with that.
Yeah.
Didn't run for like two
Did you break
months.
anything?
I found out after the fact that I did break something. At
Okay.
the time, no broken bones, just a lot of soft tissue issues, a
Yeah.
lot of, compensation injuries,
Hmm.
extensive PT, big old hematoma on my left hand side that looked like I had a tumor on my leg for a good month after the accident. But fortunately, no broken bones that I knew about at the time. But I couldn't run, couldn't swim, or excuse me, couldn't run, could bike and swim. Finally started running again, and that was, very, very slow, very, it was a long road to get back to what I was training for at the time, which was the Charleston Marathon.
Hmm.
And, it was that constant, like, listening to my body of, is this just stiffness, fatigue, or is this still injury kind of lurking? Um, and so my point being is that I ran the marathon, thanks to Greg, running about 20 miles a week for, maybe 2 months. Ended up qualifying for Boston, which was the goal,
Hmm.
and did fine in the marathon, was asymptomatic, but the recovery after the marathon was difficult for me.
Hmm.
Um, and in fact, I was running probably about 2 months ago, felt fine, tried to push a little bit more as prescribed in my workout, and
Hmm.
felt one of those body pains. And it was a sharp pull on the opposite side of where I'd been injured. And that was a pain that triggered, okay, this is not normal. I need to stop. And with that, long story short, found out I had a small tear in my labrum, which most humans that exercise do.
Yeah.
Um, it's pretty common. But this is when I found out about my broken bone. So I had a, an MRI arthrogram of my hip, and fortunately, it came back pretty non-contributory, except for the small labral tear. They told me I had some issues in my knee as well that were probably causing some of the hip issues. But the orthopedic doctor comes in to my treatment room. He's like, "Do you know you fractured your pelvis?" And I said, "No, nobody's told me that." He said, "Yeah, you have a small, healed fracture line that, if I had to guess, I'd say you probably got when you fell off your bike in July of last year." And I said, and he, completely like honey badger about it, didn't really care. And I looked at him and I said, "Should I be concerned?" And he said, "No, I mean, it's in a non-weight bearing area. That's probably why you could walk and do all the other things that you could do." I'm like, "All right,
And it healed without like intervention
yeah,
or
yeah,
yeah.
good to know." But I guess, my point to all that is the difference between running and working out through fatigue versus like when the body's like, "Hey, no, this is not okay. We need to stop." And
Yeah.
like learning to rest during those times and take it easy, which is hard for me to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you get this positive feedback loop where it's like you work hard, and if you work hard, especially when you're working harder than other people, and then you're getting results, whatever it is, whether it's race results or good grades or, admission into a school you want to go to, it's like, oh, I mean, there's the cherry on top of my ice cream for all of the work that I did to get this bowl of ice cream. And
Hmm.
so it's like, all I need to do is just can do more of this. It's that symptom of thinking that only hard work gets those results.